Brian McDonald with InsuranceClaimsPractitioner.com. Insurance claims starts with understanding an adjuster's estimate. A lot of you folk that may have already seen hundreds of adjuster estimates. In this video, I explain to people that may not have seen many of adjuster estimates and may feel uncomfortable about their knowledge level when people read them. So I want to break down a standard USAA estimate. That's a residential job with roof and interior damages. Not too complicated, also somewhat complex. Let's get started. Okay, so what you'll see here is that USAA uses a third-party adjusting firm, which is called AllCat Services. They send out independent adjusters to look at the claim for USAA. And that's what you'll see in their estimates. The difference between them and other carriers is that they have some have staff adjusters and others have just regular field adjusters. This particular claim had an independent adjuster come out, take a look at the job, spend about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes to look at all of the wind damage on the roof and all of the interior damages from water damaging the sheetrock, trim, and some other things inside. Now, what you'll want to see here is the information has been redacted of this policy, but when you get an Xactimate estimate from your customer or the independent adjuster that comes out for USAA, just know that they can only authorize so many things on for a USAA claim. They know what they can get approved and what they cannot get approved from their bosses, which will be AllCat Services and USAA managers and inside desk adjusters. Now here you'll make sure that you have the right insured's name, property address, home number, cell number, email address. Now the claim rep and estimator, that'll be the independent adjuster for AllCat Services. There is no claim number that USAA uses. They do things a little bit differently. They use policy numbers with a couple of extra numbers added on to the policy holder's number, and they have a member number. The cause of loss is other, and the type of loss for this claim was a wind damage. You want to make sure that the adjuster writes down the correct type of loss. Sometimes they'll write hail and wind damage or just hail damage so that you don't have any problems down the road to getting approval for when you send in your estimate. Now, as contractors, we're not able to talk about policy or coverage. We're not licensed adjusters, public adjusters, or licensed adjusters, or lawyers. Those three individuals are the only ones that are able to talk about policy and coverages. So we have to stay in, as contractors, stay in our lane, so to speak. And what we can talk about is what it's going to take to get the job done correctly and for what amount. Now, but what you want to make sure that your policyholder has is the correct coverage. What I mean by coverage is if it's either an RCV coverage or an ACV coverage. Under coverages, the dwelling, you'll also find the deductible, which here is $10,860. Pretty substantial for this type of homeowner. Uh, some are lower, some are higher. It just depends on the homeowner and how they set up their policies and amounts and deductibles with USAA. But we don't need to be concerned with contents or loss of use coverage on this claim. You want to make sure that the date contacted, the date lost, the date inspected, and the date estimated completion, the date received, and the date entered is all written down by the independent adjuster here. Now, the next thing that you'll look for is the price list. Now, Xactimate uses price lists for each region in the United States for each month. So each month, Xactimate will come out with a new price list. Now, this price list was in October of 2018. And if you do the work, let's say in February of 2019, when you send in your revised estimate, you need to make sure that when you do the work, that your price list is updated to that month and year. And before you do that, I want you to double check to make sure that that February 2019 price list in Xactimate is higher than this price list from October 2018. If the February 2019 price list is lower, then don't worry about it. Use this price list, which will be fine. The next thing is a summary of dwelling, the meat and potatoes of where you'll find the total price that you'll do the work for, which what we look for is the largest number here, the replacement cost value, which here is $21,699.42, which includes the line item totals, the material sales tax, that subtotal, plus overhead and profit. Now they gave 10% for overhead and 10% for profit. That comes up to $21,699.42. Now, the next thing you'll want to look for is less the deductible, which we already found that up top, which is $10,860. So the net claim will be the amount of the first check that the homeowner will receive once the claim gets processed and approved by USAA, which generally takes, once the independent adjuster turns in this initial estimate to get approved and goes through to USAA claim rep, about 2 weeks, give or take, depending on the how backed up they are and how many claims have been filed in your area. It could be less, it could be more, but they'll be able to tell you that when they turn it in. Now, the next thing on page 2, please contact our adjuster if you believe a supplement to this estimate is needed. Before we will consider a supplement to this estimate, we must have an opportunity to re-inspect the damages prior to the supplement work being done. So what that means is, if you, the contractor that is doing the work for the customer, your customer, which you have a signed contract to do the work for the total RCV amount, is different, if it's more than this original number, $21,699.42, you must inform the adjuster and or USAA that there are things missing, the price isn't correct, before you do the work. Because if you do the work before you get your supplements approved, you run the risk of not getting those supplements approved and paid for after the work is done. So when you write your estimate, and we'll go through that in other videos coming up really soon, you'll want to turn your Xactimate estimate into the desk adjuster at USAA. We want to let the independent adjuster go, because they're limited to what they can get approved, and this adjuster has maxed out more than likely what he can get approved, so that he can get paid down the road. So moving on, the next page will be just recap of taxes and overhead and profit. Now, the good thing that this has been included, overhead and profit, is that it's not going to be as hard uphill battle to get overhead and profit, because it's already here. So that's not as bad of a argument to get what you wanted. So the first thing of the description of the items is going to be your roof. Now, each subsection is broken out into sections. This independent adjuster broke out the roof in geometry roof under heading B. Why I picked B, I don't know. Generally, you'll see roof and some numbers on it, but here's where you'll see that there's red flags already. Under the removal of 3-tab composite shingles roofing, including felt, well, I've already inspected this property, and to let you know that this property already had chalet shingles, which is a discontinued shingle, and they no longer manufacture it. So the field adjuster, or this independent adjuster, should have known that and put removal of. USAA likes to play games and deny you getting an architectural shingle for remove and replace of that shingle, because they don't think that the contractor will go after that. So what you need to do is you need to, before the adjuster comes out, you need to take one of the shingles, one or two of the shingles of the chalet discontinued shingle, send it to ITEL, and get a report back finding out that it is confirmed that it's a discontinued shingle. And then if it is, you can send that report to USAA and let them know when you send your Xactimate estimate, let them know that this is a chalet shingle that's been discontinued, and you need to pay for a removal of an equivalent shingle or better, which would be an architectural shingle, a laminate architectural shingle. So that's what I would do. That's missing here, as well as they're saying that we're going to pay to put back a lower construction material from a architectural laminate to a 3-tab composite shingle, which I'm sure if you let your homeowner know, that they won't be too happy with. So that's something you need to look for in their estimates. This independent adjuster did include O&L coverage items, what he could get approved, which will be drip edge. I see that. He did put a removal of steep charges here, additional steep charges, flashing pipe jacks, digital satellite detach and reset, R&R continuous vent, shingle overstyle, exhaust cap, through roof, 6-inch to 8-inch. There's 3 of them. And then he also put in a tarp, all-purpose poly per square foot. Now, when I was called out there, I had put on some tarps and invoiced USAA, and the independent adjuster, before he turned in his initial estimate here, what you see here, he included that pricing. Another thing that you're going to see here that this independent adjuster had done for the policyholder was he did not depreciate anything in the roofing scope of work. So he gave, for instance, the removal RCV value of $1,795.84. The ACV check with no depreciation withheld paid out $1,795.84 up front to the homeowner. Now, I know this roof was around 12 to 15 years old, so all I can think of is that the independent adjuster was helping out the homeowner and getting him as much as possible up front, which is a great thing. It helps the contractor doing the work. Now, since the homeowner has O&L coverage, ordinance and law, building code coverage, what stands out to me and what you need to start to look for is that there's no valley metal here. I don't see any valley metal. That's a code upgrade. I even have pictures showing that there's existing valley metal on the roof. So that was just another thing that the independent adjuster could not get included. He also did not break out a starter strip. He didn't break out let's see, hip and ridge high profile cap shingles, because what was on the hip and ridge cap shingles were cut up chalet shingles, composite shingles, which would be considered equal to higher value going back with it, would be a high profile hip and ridge cap shingle. Other things I don't see in here are replacing the pipe boots. Let's see. There's quite a bit of things that are not included, in which we will go through in our Xactimate estimate videos coming up after this. The next thing that you'll see here is the total, subtotal of sub B for the roof. At the RCV total came up to $12,882.19, and the ACV, actual cash value, the upfront money that the homeowner will receive, equals out to $12,882.19, which is a great thing, because not a lot of adjusters can get that done. Now, the next thing that he's got included here is the kitchen under sketch 1. Now, I did not see, let's go back. You'll see these interior sketches that he had drawn out. Now, let's go all the way to the back. Now, a lot of times you'll see a blown up view of the interior sketches at the end of a lot of these adjusters Xactimate estimates, but I don't see it here. So it's really hard to compare and confirm just from his paperwork. This house was very cut up. It was a large house in a nice neighborhood, had vaulted ceilings, a catwalk on it, open kitchen to the living room. The vaulted ceiling in the living room was about 19 feet, 20 feet. So it was pretty cut up in measurements, and I, give him props for measuring out as much as he could. But I would definitely recommend going back just to confirm all of his measurements. Now, when I do my interior inspection after this, and I don't normally will do a interior sketch if all of the square foot walls and ceiling, linear foot ceiling perimeters, square foot ceiling, square foot floor, linear foot floor perimeters are within a few feet or square yards. So if I come up with my quantity numbers less than 5% difference, sometimes less than 10% difference, I'll use their numbers. Why? Because it speeds up the process and not have to argue each individual measurement. So let's take, for instance, he's got 848.08 square feet of walls. Excuse me. And when I do my measurements, I come up with 852 square feet, 0.06. I'm not gonna, cry over 4 or 5 square feet. I mean, it's just not worth it. The way that I do my system is that I go for bigger items, and those things I'm just not going to slow down the process and have the either the independent adjuster or the inside desk adjuster change those numbers and just make it take longer. So it's a lot easier to get what you want if you just use their numbers, if they match up pretty well with yours. Now, if this number is off by 300 square feet, 500 square feet, and the actual square foot of walls is like 1,200, 1,300 square feet, then we have an issue or something to bring up to the inside desk adjuster, and to have them come back and take a look at it to confirm it. But what you'll see here in the kitchen, he has mask wall, plastic paper tape, lineal footage, floor protection taped, paint ceiling 2 coats, light fixture detach and reset, final cleanup, construction residential, contents move out then reset, reset light fixtures and reset trim. But you covered pretty much everything, but there was a few more items that could be covered with plastic, because in this kitchen area there was a lot of nice cabinetry and other items. There was an island here in the middle. The square footage on painting 2 coats was a little bit more. It was pretty close, but after double checking it, you always want to make sure that you double check their square footages. And you want to make sure that there's no crown molding that you have to get into, and we'll get into that all in a later video. So moving down to the stairs. Now these stairs were really cut up. it had, let's see, to go from the first floor to the second floor catwalk, there were 2 different sections to get up to the landing of the sectional stairs. And then from the landing, it went up to the catwalk. So even me, it would be difficult for me to sketch this out. But I did sketch this out. In my estimate, it's a lot easier to understand the stairs and the substairs, the walls and the ceilings and the floors, how many treads there were. So I would definitely go back behind this independent adjuster and do a more what do we say, a better sketch of this catwalk and a better sketch of the landing and the stairs, because it's very hard to tell where he's going with it. And the only reason why that is because they're, you know, have to go by speed. You know, the faster, the more money that they're going to make is by the quantity of claims they can write and process back wherever they're in the hotel, in their home, or in their vehicle. So they don't get paid to, in this situation, to take their time to really do a good job, a detailed sketch of this area in the hallway for these stairs. So even for me looking at this, I would not even be able to tell you whether or not they're missing anything in quantities. The only way I can do that is by measuring and documenting my own interior inspection and drawing out an Xactimate sketch whether or not these quantities are correct. Now, in here, for the hallway, he's got masking, wall, plastic paper tape, floor protection, paint ceiling 2 coats, final cleaning, construction, contents removal, back and reset lighting fixtures, detached trim. Now, I know that he's missing some things like scaffolding, because the ceiling height in this area from the first floor is something like 19 feet. So the painters are going to have to set up scaffolding of some sort to even get to it, and cut around either light fixtures or cut into corners of ceilings, into walls. There's no way to do it without that. So that's something that's missing just right off the bat. And I'll find more what's missing out of this estimate in this area once I do my interior inspections. So again, what you'll see in the interior, the independent adjuster did not depreciate the scope of work for the ceiling work in the hallway. He's paying out 100%, not holding anything back. Now, going into the living room, right next to the hallway and the stairs, you can see again, this was a really funky 2-story exterior bay window kind of thing. That was very difficult to draw out and measure. If I did not double check the measurements here, I would definitely question whether or not they're accurate or not, just because of the speed in which the independent adjuster spent on this claim out on the field, what he had told me. So for the The living room, he has a masking wall, floor protection, R&R drywall, tape float ready to be painted, R&R half-inch drywall. Oops, I already said that. R&R batt insulation, 6-inch, R19 paper faced. Let's see, seal the surface area with latex, stain blocker, crown molding, detach and reset. Paint crown molding, oversized. Let's see, recessed light fixtures, detach and reset. Trim only. Paint the ceiling, 2 coats. Light fixtures, detach and reset. Paint the wall, 2 coats, final cleaning, contents, and move out. One thing off the bat that I see that he missed from my inspection was there were water damage to the ceiling, and he did include cutting out and patching back drywall, a half-inch drywall, but he missed the 5/8 drywall in the ceiling and insulation. Let's see. Now, there are other items to where you can spend extra hours of labor costs to cover up railings, because this living room backs up to that catwalk on the second floor. And you can see how high he's got R&R additional cost for high wall or ceiling over 14 foot to 20 foot. Here's the catwalk, which is not the same shape as what is actually there. I can confirm that, which you'll see that in other videos coming up. Excuse me. He has mask and wall plastic floor protection, R&R drywall, hung and tape float, R&R batt insulation, seal surface latex, paint ceiling, paint the walls 2 coats, final cleaning, recessed light fixtures. He's got just about everything that he could get in there. Now, there are other things that he can add in there, but he probably would not get approved by his bosses. So, and also you can see that nothing has been depreciated. So a lot of times independent adjusters will do this tactic to where they won't depreciate anything. They'll say, hey, look, if I do not depreciate any of this claim or items, will you not supplement on the back end? Now, a lot of times they won't ask, or the contractor will not want to rock the boat because they feel like the independent adjuster is doing them a favor, which is not true. They're just hoping that you won't come back and ask for additional items that are not included in this estimate here. So let's see the total of catwalk here. Still no depreciation taken out. Then you got general conditions. You got haul debris per pickup load, including dump fees, of $145.30 per per truckload, pickup truckload. Now, depending on how much work or how much debris and construction material debris that you create, you can ask for a dumpster container, more than likely in this here, and the adjuster already knows that there's enough complexity to include overhead and profit So that's included in this estimate, which you don't have to worry about. Then they have some insulation labor minimums, some finished carpentry labor minimums, and temporary repair services labor minimums included here, so that you can keep track of how many hours of each individual things that you work on. And we can come back later to get paid for it if you spend any more times than 1 hour on each one of those labor minimums. This is the grand totals of walls, floors, long walls, floors, to where you can, when you do your estimate and add up all of your numbers, that you could compare to the independent adjuster's numbers. And if anything is out of whack, you can go into more detail and bring up this to the inside desk adjuster at USAA. But if it's within reason, or within a few square feet, few lineal foot, few yards, square yards, I would just leave it be. It's just not worth the fight. Excuse me. The cat's got my tongue. I'm not sure why. Okay, we're almost through. Let's see. We're going to recap room by room. This just breaks down each room of what percentage of RCV value they're paying out for each individual. So the recap by categories, which will these are all overhead and profit line items. Let's see. Cleaning, content manipulation, general demolition, drywall, finished carpentry, insulation, light fixtures, painting, roofing, temporary repairs. It's all broken down to totals for each subsection, including overhead and profit item subtotals, material sales tax, and this is your grand total of $21,699.42, which should add up to the same $21,699.42. Yep. Total replacement cost value of $21,699.42. Now, one thing that is missing from here would be O&L coverage items. Now, that could be on a different coverage line item. I don't see it here, which normally you would for ordinance and law coverages. So if it is included on a paid when incurred PWI situation, they'll have those subtotals on a separate page underneath the summary dwelling. So you just need to look out for that. Now, I also want you to go to my upcoming video, my upcoming conducting property damage assessment, which will include inspecting roofs, photography, and document collection of interior and exterior damages. I'm very excited to bring that up next. I hope you like this video, and please leave a comment below and give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys watching this video.